Welcome back to Fire Emblem, Thracia 776. This is Chapter 12, Gaiden. A couple things. I think I might have said, or outright said or implied, that you need to capture Salem and hang on to him, like with that previous boss, in order to unlock this Gaiden. Now that I think about it, I don't think that's actually true. I think you just have to complete the chapter in under the time limit, and then you get this Gaiden. If you capture Salem, then you get him as a unit, and you get him in this chapter for free. You don't have to use a deployment slot on him. And he has this little bit in the beginning where he talks about the fact that you can probably recruit Pan here. He was talking to Tina. And there's this little bit where you're left wondering what exactly is it that he forces Tina to do here. It's kind of setting up for hijinks here. So yeah, there is actually a few different conversations you can get in the beginning here, and I wasn't even thinking about it, but I actually deployed every character who talks in the beginning here. So the object of this map is, well, it's to seize, but the real object is to recruit Pan and his cohorts. And to do that, you can use one of 3 units, and all of them have this little talk at the beginning indicating to you that they know Pan in some way, or that they think that he can be turned over to your side, or what have you. I haven't seen a lot of people talking about the different conversations you can have with Pan, because the by far the best one, the one you want to do, is the Lara one. I think a lot of you probably know. But you should try, next time you play this chapter, you should try deploying all 3 of them, and check out the conversations for each of them. Either restart the chapter, or use a save state or something, because it's interesting. The Lifis conversation especially, in the Salem one, it's just kind of, it's funny, but it's whatever. But the Lifis one gives a lot of, extra little flavor about Lifis, and just makes the world feel a little bit more rich. So check it out. I'm not going to talk about it too much here. I won't spoil what it is. But in order to do this chapter cleanly, you need Warp again. Let's see if I do it a little bit better than in the last chapter. Also, I may have not mentioned at the end of the last video that we were going to a Gaiden, although I think I talked about it a lot during the chapter, so whatever. Just clearing up any previous misconceptions or whatever. So here's the Lara conversation, and the reason you want to do it with Lara is because she turns into a dancer here, and that's pretty cool. Lara as a dancer, we'll just talk about that real quick here, is a little bit different than some other dancers in the series. For one, dancing causes her fatigue, and she has such low HP that if you approach Lara as a dancer in the same way that you use, let's say Ninian, for example. I deploy Ninian in every map, and I always dance every turn, even if it's I have nothing really to dance for. I just make sure to do it anyway for the experience, because that gives her extra speed and luck and everything, and just generally increases her survivability and whatnot. It's one of those why not do it sort of things, and that's true of most dancers in this series. But with Lara, not only is so she actually takes a huge stat hit when she gets this promotion. You're going to see it here. So she is one of the physically weakest dancers in the series, if not the weakest. If you thought she was frail as a thief, she's paper thin as a dancer. She will be lucky to take 1 hit. So beyond that, she accumulates fatigue, so it's this double whammy where not only do you might not want to deploy Lara automatically in every map like you might do with another dancer, but you might not be able to, so you don't want to do that like just perfunctory dancing or anything. You want to think about deploying her more than you think about, like, people are either all or nothing with dancers. They either like never deploy them or they always deploy them. And with Lara, this is the one dancer where maybe it's just like a sometimes thing. So she becomes dancer and she recruits Pawn, and then what you want to do is immediately steal Tina's thief staff, because if not, she will waste her thief staff uses on your guys, which is bad for like a number of reasons. Like it's messy to do that chapter this way, and it also just hurts your future economy, because then she might have broken her thief staff. You have to use a repair use, or just like not use it ever. It really sucks. I did that chapter that way for my first run, and it made things miserable for me in so many ways. The only other thing you can do, if you don't have warp or whatever, is you can unlock the Gaiden, like the previous Gaiden, and then in the chapter we just did, if you visit, I think it's the top house, it gives you a silence staff. And I guess you could, I never tried this, but I guess you could probably just silence Tina, and like that would eliminate that whole bit. But like if you've not then already recruited Pawn because you don't have warp, then that means you still have to deal with all the other crap that happens in this chapter. Like you see all of these enemy units have run away that were there on the first turn, but if you don't recruit Pawn immediately, they will actually attack you and everything, and this chapter is just hell on earth if that's the case. Like it's not good. You not at so much of a risk of dying necessarily, because it's a lot of just like archers and thieves and stuff, but it's I wouldn't recommend it. But if you do just recruit Pawn turn 1, then everything just empties out and you start getting the victory music very quickly. The rest of what you want to do in this chapter is, so there's another unit who I'm just going to say right out, we're not going to recruit. His name is Trude. He starts like in kind of the top middle of the map, and if you recruit Pawn immediately, he just runs away. But if you don't, or you like use Salem's sleep staff on him, and then you capture him or talk to him with Pawn, then, well, you can't talk to him with Pawn if you sleep him, I think. But you know what I mean, if you have him run over there with enough time remaining. Then you can recruit him, but I don't really think it's worth it. That sleep staff is very useful at this point in the game, because it's like the only one you can get, pretty much. And to waste a use of it on like kind of an unremarkable, like just random sword unit where you already have like 3 of those, and I know it's like that doesn't necessarily denigrate Trude as a unit, but it's like okay, so his makeup is that he's like a slightly more durable Myrmidon, and he has Nihil, which there's some like, especially way later on in the game, there's like some use for Nihil, and like, don't get me wrong, it's good to have on Marita through her weapon, but it's like, I don't know. He comes with a silver sword, which is almost more valuable than he is. Let's get this well-deserved Tanya promotion, so she can get yet another point of movement, for 3 total. Very cool. Very cool. The other parts of my preps were, somebody, I think Tanya or Leaf, has a chess key, and I brought Halvin, believe it or not, that you might have noticed since Ashian is promoted, so Halvin is the only other one who would have that sprite. Perhaps you noticed already. You don't have to bring Halvin specifically, it's just you want to bring somebody who has like decent constitution, because you have to capture a dancer later. Well, you don't have to, but you get a really good item if you do. a dancer or a thief or something. I forget which it is. So you need Safi to recruit Tina. So you want to have Leaf, Safi, and like anybody with chess keys and stuff just make their way across the map. If you have a torch, or you want to bring somebody who can use the torch staff and use it here, then, you know, go ahead. I don't think I did here, which is kind of funny considering some things that I know that you don't know. If I remember, I'll explain that later on. But you have like plenty of time once the map is cleared out. You actually have to wait, like for the very last item that you can get in this, you gotta wait like 25 turns. So just have everybody make their way left, but like leave Halvin or whomever has, you know, that extra con back over where he is right now, and have Pawn make his way over there as well. And then just also like try to keep everybody out of the path of egress in this map, like meaning don't block those stairwells like Lara is kind of doing right now. I have Leaf like sort of not blocking the hallway, but it doesn't really matter because Lara is blocking the only other exit. So get everybody where they need to go, but then get them out of the way, because some of these other units, like enemy units, have to escape. Like there's a dancer in the throne room, I think, right now. And don't kill anything just for like the extra experience or weapon rank or whatever, because some of these extra units don't actually spawn if you have killed one, I think. And it's just not worth it anyway. I don't think they give much experience. Tina, like, this is the only time this has ever happened to me where she actually leaves the throne room. It must be something having to do with, like how I blocked certain doorways and not others or something. I don't know, it's kind of funny. But it was actually like kind of a minor inconvenience. Because I'm trying to let that other unit escape down there. But like I said, you have plenty of time to fiddle around, and you have Lara there to dance, to make it slightly easier. So, you know, whatever. You can, if you remember, you can like bring anything that you want to give to some of these units, like the unit that I was talking about that I wanted to give the elite manual to is actually Tina, and I should have brought it here just to trade over to her so I could get that out of the way, because oftentimes I forget for like several chapters, and then like it's still just sitting around. There's the cost manual, which I think I end up selling pretty soon. The treasures that are in the chests on this map aren't like super insanely amazing. You definitely want to get all of them. Now that I say that, I'm probably going to remember some really good ring that's in one of them or whatever. And then in the conversation here, Safi realizes that what Pond was doing to Tina wasn't bad at all, and that Pond is... I've heard people, like, I saw in, like, a crappy, you know, like, top 10 sort of article once where somebody was saying that, like, Pond is one of, like, the worst guys in all of Fire Emblem because he, like, you know, forces Tina or like children to do his bidding, and it's like it's so not played that way in this chapter. It's like he's just yeah, he's like, you know, forcing her to use her like magical thieving abilities and whatnot for his purposes, but it's not like he's molesting her or something. Like it's played for laughs. So you know, it's just this whole like side venture here is meant to contrast with like Lithis' group and also like, you know, just the other generic bandits that you see. Like, you know, these guys are sort of like Robin Hood-ish, sort of like Dagda in a way, but like a different flavor, kind of. If not Safi, then Tina is probably the best unit in this game. I certainly think that she's the most fun unit to use in this game, and possibly in all of Fire Emblem or Saga. Like, she's just... using the Thief Staff is just hilarious. It's also incredibly powerful. And even like unlock can be fun and profitable. So this is a Gaiden that, like, unless I'm doing some sort of gimmick run, like no Gaidens or whatever, I will always try to visit this Gaiden. Not having Tina really sucks. It really sucked in that no Gaidens run, just as much as not having Safi. Like Safi is just generically good because she is like an early high rank staff user, but like Tina does something unique, and you know, nothing can take that away from her. So that's another reason why I favor her, just because what she does is so novel. And then like there's some other stuff you can get in this map, like you can have pawns steal from the dancers. They have like slim swords and stuff. Those aren't like totally worthless, as far as like you can make some money selling them, like not an exorbitant amount, but it's kind of like you have the time anyway if you're gonna wait around for those extra items, so it's like whatever. But that's pretty much it for this chapter. Like the last two units that appear from the lower right. They appear from that staircase that's like kind of just a little bit on your right when you spawn into the map, like below where Pawn and Halvin are right now. And then they move to the staircase in the very upper right. So as long as you have your guys there, and possibly maybe have like another couple guys there for vision if you want, but it's not like super imperative. You should be fine otherwise. I think one of the units, like the first one that comes out, as a night proof, and you steal it and you just let the guy go. And then on turn 25, a dancer spawns and has a warp staff in its inventory. And the thing is, it's slightly too heavy for Pawn to steal. So you actually have to have a unit capture the dancer. And I think actually Pawn has the constitution for it, but I just always bring somebody else just in case. Like, because I don't think he has insane con, and you never know when a unit is going to like grow a freaky amount of constitution. You know, maybe failing that, like maybe Leaf can do it, but I don't know. He might not have any more con than Pawn. So yeah, this map is not good if you're trying to low turn anything. Definitely, or like you can. You can pretty much clear this in one turn if you wanted, but you won't get Tina, and you won't get like an extra warp staff, which is pretty invaluable, especially if you don't like some of these middle chapters. Especially during the route split, it's good, but you can also just repair the warp staff that you have. I'm not even sure if I've used a repair use yet. Like, it's you know, up to this point in the run, I won't say whether or not this streak has been broken, but I've never actually gotten Safi killed up to this point. And so I never really feel pressure to use the repair uses. I think it's pretty easy to keep staff users alive in this game. Like they're more frail than they are in a lot of these games, but I think I might have already gone over this a little bit. But like, because so many staffs are long range, the thief staff is long range. You know, anything that causes a status or like does something to an enemy, kind of like it's just like the range is across the whole map. Like there are times where I will just leave my guys at the starting position. Like obviously you can't use the regular heal staff or whatever, but you know, sometimes I just have so many physic or reblow staves that I just don't know what to do with all of them, so it's not a big deal. The places where you get into trouble are with the units that can like both attack and use staves, because sometimes you just go like, oh well, you know, I'll bring them in to get a little chip damage or something, and then they end up getting killed. That goes also for like promoted like sisters and, you know, priestesses and whatever they're called, because they gain access to light tomes. Some of them actually have it just as unpromoted units. Like Safi and Tina don't, but Linoan and Sarah can use attacking magic in the beginning. And if you don't know what you're doing, you can get in a lot of trouble there. So you'll see that here, Pond does have the ability to capture this thing. And it's not an automatic capture because it has the slim sword. I guess what you could do is you could steal the slim sword as well. That would probably be cleaner because my Halvin's not that good. So, well, for this point in the game, he's not that good with the amount of training that I've put into him. So he could miss, and you could like end up wasting an extra turn. But it's really 6 of 1. It's just like, you know, this weak dancer is eventually going to get captured no matter what you do. So it's not a big deal. That's pretty much it for Chapter 12 Gaiden. It's a chapter worth going to. I would always recommend you go to it. Just make sure you're prepared. Because it can turn from the absolute easiest chapter into one of the worst experiences ever. Thank you for watching. I will see you in Chapter 13.